Hot takes. Every game's got them, from your action-packed shooter all the way down to your lowly indie game. And Nightreigns not any different. So I thought today it'd be interesting to try a couple of new things. One, going over Nightreigns hot takes, and two, you know, using my little PNG thing that my editor told me to start using because, well, fuck it, look at him. He's kind of cool, isn't he, guys? Anyway, so without further ado, let's get into our hot takes. All right, and first up on our list would be from a guy named Super Mario 7. His hot take was, is it insane how we had Elden Ring for so long and people still can't dodge 90% of the boss's movesets correctly in this game? 100% they used bleed builds to beat Elden Ring, and it shows. Now, I mean, in a sense, yeah, but a lot of the most used bleed builds, you still had to dodge around a little bit, man. And I used a bleed build in my first run through, but with almost 1,000 hours in the game, I've done everything from bonk to speed. I just didn't do spells, but you know, sitting in the back and not taking any damage would also probably fit into your they don't know how to dodge things argument. But no, this isn't the worst hot take I've ever seen on the game, but definitely say, dude, like, just because people get hit all the time doesn't mean they didn't beat the game with other methods. I mean, freaking, you know, Royal Knights resolve, big bonk, one hit kills, still pretty fun, and you know, you don't have to dodge very much if you're killing things in 2 hits. So maybe just think that other people ain't as good or as bad at the game as you. They're just having fun, man. It's not a competition. It's just a competition when you get to the leaderboards in Deep of Night. But you know, we're not talking about that anyway. Moving on. All right, next up we got from the Mancer's Dilemma. I think Duchess has become the ally I want to see the least on the selection screen. The last 5 or 6 ones I've played with haven't used any spells at all, and a lot of them are using weapons she doesn't even scale with. Had one running around, one handing a great curved sword and a tower shield, and nothing else. To which another player named Lars commented, you know you're getting good at the game when Duchess becomes the clear worst character. So like many things in life, when it comes to this particular comment and, you know, the comment on the comment, I'd have to say something about, you know, preferences here, guys. Like, everyone has them. But yeah, so when it comes to preferences and everything, personally myself, I don't think I like to see executors the most because, yeah, they are your ailment inducers, but you've got too many people who, while using them, they don't actually build anything up with them. They don't use their freaking parrying skills very well. And they tend to, when they try to use their parrying skills, get one shot by the BBH, which is never fun, you know, and then you have to go in and revive them. Too often, in my opinion, the Revenants will whiff with their ult, or, you know, get one shot before they can use their ult. You know, I don't think there's a bad character in the game, and I know for a fact that Rusty, way bigger channel than mine, would probably be all up in your ass about this one because he can 3-shot, you know, red bosses like they're nothing. So definitely give them a chance, and just like every other class, hope they have someone playing them that actually knows what the hell they're doing, or else just like with any other class, you know, Guardian who doesn't use the Steel Guard, it's not going to be good for you. All right, so we've got the next one as a guy named 𝐜𝐨𝐧𝐭𝐤. Between this, Dark Souls 2, Sekiro, and Armored Core 6, I have to say Miyazaki is the least important director at FromSoft, and he should step up to a higher role in the company, since he appears to be much better suited at assisting teams. With Sekiro, he got his magnum opus. With Dark Souls 3, he got his farewell to Souls. Now let the other guys cook, because they got jet fuel. And, yeah. This one does not make me happy at all. Saying that Miyazaki is, you know, washed up at this point. And even the comments other than them are saying stuff like, you are out of your mind. He's literally the company president, bro. He can't step up any higher. That reminds me of Super Troopers. I'm already pulled over. I can't pull over anymore. But no, seriously, man. Miyazaki is the reason all of those games have done so well. Elden Ring wouldn't have done as good without Miyazaki behind the reins. Yeah, he's stepped up for things like Armored Core 6, which I don't believe he had anything really to do with. He let another director do. He also stepped up for, I mean, yeah, stepped out of the way, not up. But he stepped out of the way for Nightreigns. He let another director take over Nightreigns. Duskbloods has nothing to do with him. They are literally letting smaller directors take smaller projects right now in order to keep the vision going and the game going well. But Miyazaki is the legacy. He is the legend behind the game. So, like, yeah, this is probably the worst take on here already. So next up on the chopping block, we've got Soul Counter 6. And they said this game isn't random enough to be called a true roguelike. And I'm pretty sure I got this particular one before Deep of Night came out. I would have to agree in some aspects it definitely is not random enough. You only had so many seeds to choose from, and I think it was either 4 or 6 out of each of the seeds were put to each one of the different shifting earths, just automatically taking them from the major pool. So yeah, originally I would have to agree with you, but since Deep of Night's come out and everything, including the boss that you fight at the end, is now randomized, I would have to say that this statement no longer holds true. So before Deep of Night, yes. After Deep of Night, it has become a hot take afterwards. Then we've got Not Landlaudinus, and I don't. Their hot take is that Revenant is the most underrated Nightfarer, and with the most misconceptions and memes. I still read regularly out here and about how she's bad, does bad damage, doesn't have the utility, that her starting weapon is godlike, that her summons are trash, that she needs 50 starlight shards in order to never run out of mana, and that she can't find any good seals ever. And finally, one of your favorites was that the rejection, I'm guessing you're meaning the rejection spell, is useless. Might make a quick guide for her. Well, that would be a good idea. We definitely need more guides on how to play underutilized characters. I do have to agree that it is hard to ever find good seals, even when you go to the church. You always get a seal that has, like, again, the rejection spell that people say are useless. And then you get, like, black flame, or a fireball or catch flame, or you don't really get, and it's always against the bosses that aren't weak to it. So you're getting all these fire spells, but you're going up against Tricephalos, or you're getting a butt ton of, ice spells going up against Caligos. It becomes a bit of a pain when it's in that particular perspective. The thing that's most annoying when I'm watching or playing as Revenant is that the Revenant player never gets the items that they need. It's always the Raider that gets the items that the Revenant needs, and then you're expecting your Raider to give up their drop to give you the giant flames seal with, freaking the best fire spells on it to go against Caligo or whatnot. Utility, that's about, I agree with you. This isn't so much of a hot take. A lot of your stuff is right on here. A lot of people are just building them wrong. The meme builds now that Deep of Night exists are way more easy to utilize than they used to be, because one of the damn Deep of Night relics literally lowers your faith and increases your strength as Revenant, which makes me laugh. So bonk builds, and to my editor Mons, who isn't editing this video, I might do your stupid level 1 Revenant run with big bonk sticks now that I can do something stupid like that. But as for this comment here, this hot take, honestly, no, it's not a hot take to say that Revenant is underrated. It's a hot take to say that she sucks. So I agree with you. I think everyone else has an issue, not you. So. And now we've got the 𝐜𝐨𝐧𝐭𝐼𝐬. Gotcha. I haven't heard the word wowzer since I watched Inspector Gadget as a kid. So that's fun. Honestly, I love the pot trolls. Oh my god, I hate this guy already. They're hilarious and pretty easy to beat. Hopefully they buff them to give a little bit more runes. I agree with that. But that's besides the point. I just love watching videos of people getting dunked on by pot trolls. I'll even go a step further and say pot trolls should be 𝐸𝐭 what poisons... Oh, should be to 𝐸𝐭 what poison swamps were to Miyazaki. He should add them in all future games and even make a poison swamp where trolls are throwing pots at you. Okay, so, 𝐜𝐨𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬, I think maybe you are, in real life, a troll with giant pots, okay? Albeit you might be smoking a lot of pot, but we're not judging here. Now, the trolls, I don't have as big of a problem with them as a lot of people do. Like, the two people I run with are constantly, if they see trolls, we don't touch the castle. And I usually play 𝐼RON. Trolls don't bother an 𝐼RON player. You just sit inside the castle, peg the two in the face with your little wooden shafts. Giggity. And after all that, they drop pretty quickly. You take them out pretty quick. There's no issues if you're playing 𝐼RON. But when you're watching your raider try to do a jump attack for the umpteenth million time, and then they do the Wilhelm scream as they get knocked across the screen because of a pot hit them from another troll, it's funny for the 𝐼RON, but it's not funny for them. And then, they scream, they get upset, and then you don't get to play anymore because they decided that was the last run for the day because the trolls upset them. Really kind of sad. But you're not wrong. Trolls aren't the worst thing. They're not as bad as 99.9% of the people who hate them say. But at the same time, if I ever see pot trolls in a poison swamp, I will send a Canadian hit squad after you. I'm going to have to. So, other than that, I hope you're having, I hope 𝐜𝐴ZERMeister doesn't get too much hate for this one. It wasn't the worst take. Definitely not on the list. Miyazaki being the worst director was still the worst hot take thus far. All right. Under gameplay discussion, we've got, this is my hot take. Playing with only match-made randoms is the way you're supposed to experience this game. 90% of players I've seen dump on it are FromSoft gods or have whole friend groups of people who are great at FromSoft games and blitz the whole thing. And they get upset. There's not more to it. But when you suck ass and you have no friends, did we get this one off Reddit? You have to play with bums and matchmaking and lose all the time. You end up having to experience more of all of the game because you're redoing it so much. So yeah, get bad. I don't disagree that playing it with randoms definitely changes the experience, but I've done so many best players and worst players takes videos. I mean, I can't really say so many. I've done 2 of each, but that, like, there are still ways the characters will shine. As long as you're willing to play a role on the team, you would definitely be fine. Even in random matches, hell, one of my best runs I've ever had was 2 randoms. I had no idea who they were. They were just 2 really cool dudes, and we ran through and had 0 issue. I don't think a single person, I think I used 2 flasks on an Everdark boss. Like, that was it. Like, and that's nuts. Like, usually when I'm running with my friends, it's, 4, or I'm empty on flasks by the time we're done. No one's doing any damage. Someone's running off into the corner. I swear to God, I've definitely seen at least one of my friends freaking use an emote and fall over dead halfway through a match. So, but no, I do agree that, matchmaking was probably the intended way, but you're not going to get everyone in the game to do it through matchmaking. It's just fun times in the long run anyway. So we got Tuesday here who says Executor's kit is poorly designed, having a skill being taken up by an extra weapon whose only purpose is to deflect sucks. 99% of the time, Executor is going to only be pulling out the sword to deflect and going right back to his main weapon immediately after. I mean, it's just like saying that the Iron Eyes would suck because technically, his entire ult is built onto a bow, but he pulls the bow out of his ass regardless if he has a bow or not. It's not like it's taking up a weapon slot for you to be able to use your Cursed Blade. the deflection skill when you're building a deflect build is so overpowered. I'm surprised you didn't complain about his passive being linked to him actually having to take status effect damage. Like, that's the one thing I had the most problem with. Like, honestly, yes, you can put some puku on your weapon to start with, and yes, you can poison yourself and do all kinds of other... You can even sit down and go into madness form. And people have done the math. Like, it's not just 20% boost in damage, you know, stacking. So it's not 20, 40, it's 20... 44, freaking, you know, 68. It keeps going up percentage wise. So like, but it only lasts 30 seconds per buff. So yeah, you're getting all these buffs, but like if you seppuku twice, you get a 44% increase in damage, which is really good. But yeah, I don't see a problem with this deflect skill. I see a problem with people being able to use the deflect skill. I'm one of them. Don't go back and watch my Sekiro live streams, but I'm one of them. The voices in my head say you should definitely go back and watch the Sekiro live streams and laugh at me though. So, I mean, to each their own on that one. All right, Warden with a blackjack. Oh, okay, yeah, the blackjacks. Gotcha. 90% of Iron 9 players should never touch the character again with how cowardly they play them. If you don't use your mark and stay close to the boss, the team will be better off without you. Okay, I don't get the last line. Kind of gives me a bit of a headache thinking about. If you don't use your mark, just stop it there. And if you stay too close to the boss, is how I'm thinking you are putting it, the team would be better off without you. So I'm an Iron 9 main. And I don't know if this is going to, piss you off a little bit. But no, I always go with the double mark skill. Now that Deep of Night's out, my marks also add deadly poison, which is fucking awesome. But I always do the double arc. I always have it so it's on cooldown a little bit faster than normal. And I tend to run in mark, and I'm one of the few Iron Eyes that prefer charge attacking over and over again. So I'm almost always right in their ass crack with my bow. I do see a lot of Iron Eye players that like to sit up on the roof across, they set up sniper positions. They don't play as an archer. They play as like someone with a freaking 50 caliber Barrett, sniper rifle. And both are valid ways of playing the game. I mean, hell, with me playing the Iron Eye, I tend to stay alive longer than a lot of my team, as long as the boss isn't super aggressively aggroed onto me the whole freaking fight. And that's what the double mark system is for, is just to be able to hit them with a mark and then dodge away if you need to later on. So, but I don't know if 90% of players shouldn't touch them. They just need to get a little bit better at knowing their ranges, their optimal range for the character. It's no different again than like an Executor or Duchess not knowing that they scale better with intelligence than dexterity. There's a lot of players that still have that issue. So random name 6194, and apparently you have two of them, you greedy bastard. Okay, so no character is bad. Some people are just bad with them. I basically just said that in the last one, so no arguments there. And the game feels too easy once you get the hang of gameplay loop. I would love a challenge mode that makes the world harder, not just the Night Lords. I want to struggle against bosses on night 1 and 2. Well, this one was definitely, well, it says it was a month ago when it was posted. This was definitely before Deep of Night came out. And this definitely sounds like someone who was complaining that Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3, Bloodborne, Sekiro, Cat Mario, all of those were too easy. So like, but your wish was granted. They gave you Deep of Night mode, so enjoy your level 1 jump into a church with red rats one-shotting you. We've got here, and I don't think my screen's big enough for this, guys. This is a big complaint. I'm gonna do it here. It's from the Last Celebration 941 on r/Nightreigns, and he says, maybe a hot take, but day 1 should be twice as long as it is now. As the title says, day 1 feels too short. During the network test, it kind of works out. because they only have 2 map variants: spawn in, day 2 boss on rotation, so players know where to go, etc. And it works out. In the full release, every run is supposedly different if you have a way to re-explore the map. Remember the first run you had in the network test, that will be day 1 in almost every run of the full release. If day 1 was twice as long, you'd have at least some time to get used to the new environment and figure things out. It is the more important day anyway, as you are searching for a main weapon for the run. Day 2 is fine. You know the map by then, and it is mainly used for touch up on passive effects. I mean, if day 1 was twice as long, it would be a lot more people just fucking around. Like, honestly, the speed of the game is necessary to keep it interesting. I think if day 1 was twice as long, people would get... The game would have fallen off already. It's not a bad take to have. This isn't like the hottest of hot takes. But it definitely is... Yeah, this is definitely probably considered a lukewarm take as opposed to a hot take. But it's more of a personal opinion or a personal preference thing than any kind of, bad take. I honestly think there's a lot of times, and here's a hot take for me. I think that if you guys put voice chat into here, it'd be more toxic than a 2005 Call of Duty lobby. But there'd be more, you dumbasses and racial slurs thrown out than anything that you've ever seen in your life. So honestly, your hot take is your hot take's good. Like, I wouldn't want to go with a twice as long day 1. Maybe add 2 extra minutes to each day. I don't think that would negatively affect it, because there's always that one time when you're like, man, if only I had 10 more seconds, we could beat this guy. But now the storm's here and we have to run. So I can understand just a little bit more time, but time management is a big part of this game, so it would definitely make it a worse game if you doubled day 1. Only got a couple more here, guys. Another from r/Nightreigns. And it says, hot take, players quitting mid-run is not the worst thing ever. It sucks that someone left, sure, but it's not nearly as bad as everyone thinks. Whenever someone leaves the game balances the enemy's health bar to your current team size to the solo health if it's only 1 left. Sometimes it's actually easier. Typing. Sometimes, guys, it's actually easier if some really bad player left the game. The boss is easier to kill, and you don't need to consistently revive the 1 weak player over and over again. I actually had some terrible trio games turn great when one of the players left, and me and the other competent teammate just shredded the duo health bar Night Lord. Still, it's not a good thing when someone quits, but I don't think it's as bad as most of us makes it out to be. And I agree. When somebody quits, it's everyone's gonna bitch about it, but when you realize it is easier to kill the boss, you're not wrong. The problem with when somebody quits is it's always when somebody quits in the middle of a boss fight and you're expecting that kind of extra help that's not there. That's when it sucks. And on top of that, like, this is my hot take. If somebody has gone down 3 times and you don't have an ult that just revives them, leave them for dead. They're not technically contributing any damage. They haven't been contributing any damage. They're not going to contribute any damage. All the best thing that they've been doing is being Tricephalos's chew toy, or Gaping Jaw's chew toy. Even my friend Noah, who I play with often, if he's dropped down to 3 bars on 2 different occasions, he'll literally look at us and go, "Fucking leave me alone. I'm not helping. I'm dead. If you can res me with a res attack, you do that, but until then, just leave me dead and kill the thing." So, yeah, it's not the worst take to say if they leave, it's bad, but yeah, it's still a hot take. Also, I want to thank you guys, those of you who sent me in hot takes. If any of you guys have more hot takes, go ahead and send them in either in the comment section or join on the Discord, and you can send me some more there. With that, let's get into, oh god, one more r/Nightreign1 with no, you guys can read the name. Deep of Night is the pure definition of artificial difficulty, and now that we know it doesn't have an endless mode, I can genuinely say it is mid. The entire reason I wanted to play Deep of Night was that at depth 4 and 5 they said it would have an endless battles, and many people have gotten to rank 4 by now, some even to 5, and have no such endless battles in their game. So the entire game mode is just, wow, I just got one shot now and my weapons have another passive, and I see no point. And to this I say this is a hot take. It's probably the best hot take we've had in the video that doesn't, you know, talk about our Lord and Feet master Miyazaki himself. And that's primarily because, as you guys saw in an earlier one, the game's too easy. Everyone was bitching that the game's too easy. Day 1 and Day 2 is too easy. And then when you guys get a hard mode, yeah, they have nice chunker health bars and they hit way harder. But this is what everyone was asking for from Day 1. As soon as they beat the first freaking Night Lord and they realized what the game was going to be about, everyone's been asking for something to hit them a bit harder. Yeah, it's not the endless boss run that everyone was asking for, but it is the difficulty and the roguelike aspect that everyone was asking for. I mean, hell, if you think about it, dude, all games, when they change difficulty, okay, I won't say all, because all games is, you know, you never use absolutes in an argument, but 99% of games, when they increase difficulty, it's either a bigger health bar and a little bit more damage modifier without changing attack patterns, without changing moves, without changing what the boss does or what the mobs do. And it's all of them are just artificially increased difficulty. Again, 99%, but so, and off the top of my head, I can't think of the ones that are good at changing it. I know a couple. I'm pretty sure there's a couple Dark Souls 2 fans who are like, well, the bosses changed their attack patterns in Dark Souls 2 on a new game plus 6 or some shit. But, you know, it's just something to point out. But we got exactly what we asked for, other than the endless part. We got stronger bosses, we got more rewards, we got the ability to play as stronger characters, and we even got diversity of build that was way better when they added 3 more slots in their crazy ass freaking deep of the deeps relics. So, you know, again, probably the hottest take that we've gone over today, guys. Do people not realize how much Deep of Night is going to suck? Do yourselves a favor and look up the leaks. We're talking 250% plus damage and health increase on enemies, bosses, and Night Lords. And that's pretty much all they've done. Nothing is actually new or difficult. All they did is bump enemy stats to a ridiculous amount and give them damage resistances and immunities. And you can only use the new relics in this mode. So what's even the point if the progress you made can't be used outside of it? YouTubers who played it early say it's broken and not fun past depth 2, borderline unplayable. Am I the only one who feels like this update is going to suck? Not the worst take. The giant bumps in health do feel, you know, a bit overwhelming at times. However, right before this one came out, they did massively buff all of the Night Fares. I am kind of waiting to see what happens when they add in the new Night Bosses, Night Lords, and Night Fares, to see what happens there. I wouldn't say it's the worst update that FromSoft's ever done. Hell, again, going back to Dark Souls 2, those guys are still salty that it even had a Sins of the First Scholar update. They like the original better. Yeah, I do have a couple YouTuber friends who are a little bit larger than my channel who said that, who are in depth 3 right now, who are getting one shot by said church rats, and it's not as fun for them. I do agree that it would be nice to be able to use the relics outside, just to shit stomp some of those Everdark sovereigns. Other than that, I don't see it being a huge problem to have all this extra stuff. It was asked for. They did give the audience what they asked for. Everyone was wanting more difficult. This is just a lot of what I said in the last one. So, but your take is not as bad as the last one. So you at least reasoned your points a little bit better. Well, guys, that's the video. We've gone through several different hot takes from, you know, the Nightreigns game, Elden Ring itself, even one on Miyazaki. If you guys have any other ones, go ahead and send them my way. Go ahead and like the video if you, well, liked the video, and subscribe, because if not, you know, the Canadian Hit Squad is still on call. And we also have a Discord, so go ahead and join that. You guys can come over and argue with us over what our hot takes are. Link in the description below. With that being said, remember, guys, as always, be good to each other. See you in the next video. Peace.